Oh, baby, Sunday. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful Overbooked. Y'all know who I am. I got Kate because it's Sunday. So
Hell
if it's
yeah.
Sunday at 8 means it's time for Joel and Kate. Hi, Kate. How are you?
I am good. I'm recently freed from Twitter jail, as we were discussing before I went on air. I got a little sassy. I got put in Twitter jail, but I am free.
Mhm.
And I spent my time not on Twitter doing good things and not complaining about copyright strikes and who might be behind them, as was the discourse I was told I missed.
It was. I also missed most of it because I did that thing where you go outside and you, as the kids say, touch the grass.
The kids being CM Punk.
Yes,
he
the kid
says
being
that.
CM Punk.
Yeah. Good old Phil.
The kids also leave thumbs up on these videos.
Don't you want to be like the kids?
Be like the cool kids.
I wish that I could be like the cool kids.
Monetize right there. First minute.
Something. That was less than 12 seconds.
Is that? It used to be 30 seconds when it was like 2001. I'm old.
Oh, really? I think they whittled it down to 12.
I wouldn't be surprised because now all the songs are very short and like repetitive. It's just the same thing over and over again. You know the Taylor song that "Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me." Everyone knows.
I'm the problem. It's me.
So I've heard it now in like 4 different places in the area that I live in. Okay, at like various malls and grocery stores. Taylor Swift pronounces the word problem very strangely.
Vowel sounds for her are something that, like, for any singer, like, she put in a lot of work vocally, I will say. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a Swiftie. Like, I'm not getting dressed up to go to a concert anytime soon. Yep. I'm not a hater either. She's someone that, like, her live vocals were not good, and that girl put in a ton of work to make her live show really, really good. And sometimes, like, I know from my vocal training, like, sometimes vowel sounds aren't the vowel sounds that you think they are, to make them not sound flat or weird. And there's some very distinct ones where I'm like, I think she's trying to control what her tone is in those moments, but she almost sounds like she's from a different part of the country or something. And that's one of them. Yeah. It's a little funny.
It's like she says, "I'm the problem."
I'm the pro. Like, it's, you're like trying to. Yeah. It's very nerdy, and you speak music, but not everyone here does. But it's like sometimes it's like to get air up in your head instead of forward in your head, and I think that's like it's just a very sometimes that comes out real weird.
So hold on, if you were hashtag prison Kate, were you wearing a bandana?
The worst part about Twitter prison was the Dementors.
By the way, be like Ricardo, surname redacted. I don't support your wrongful Twitter incarceration. Wow. I was about to say incarnation. I don't support that either, but
you don't want me to get reincarnated on Twitter?
No, definitely not. Maybe Blue Sky. But also, go ahead and support us here anyway at Fightful Overbooked. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, that's free. That's great. If you want to support us financially, drop a super chat. Any amount will bring you up on the air. Do the thing, you all know how it does. But also, like, it gets our people paid that are not named Joel, Jeremy, or Kate.
That is correct. And much like you're like, we appreciate all the support. If you leave a thumbs up, I'm expecting it. Okay, I'm expecting you to send in massive super chats. I'm expecting for you to leave a thumbs up. I'm expecting for this to reach thousands of views. Like, Joel's very gracious about it. I'm telling you that if you're not doing those things, you're letting me down. So
the least you can do is hit up Kate for a sponsorship spot on
this. That's right. Show. Please.
I will put your logo somewhere on the background if you sponsor this show. So
can you make it like when DVD screens were idle and they would like bounce? Can we get one of those like in the
I actually could. I just
sponsor the show to get a
yes
Pong logo where it changes colors every time it hits it.
I just realized that window's open, so I'm going to hear that stupid siren.
Oh my gosh, is it a lady having a baby? That's what my mom used to say to keep us from being scared.
Well, that's probably a good idea. So we got a lot.
Lady having a baby.
busy week in wrestling. There's shows going on as we speak. New Japan Resurgence is going on now. Alex Coughlin, who interviewed, we got to interview him this past Friday on In the Weeds. He won his big match against Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel.
Tremendous talent. Just like incredible physical strength with that dude. He's had some ROH matches too that he was just fantastic in. Like, I love that you got to interview him because he's such a he's such an interesting guy. Like he has such a specific. I love when there's guys that like and gals that have lanes of their own in wrestling. He strikes me as one of those. Like I put over Joe Hendry all the time. He's a guy that has that where he's like over in his super specific way. Orange Cassidy is certainly, there's nobody over in the way that he's over. Like I feel like Alex Coughlin is like narrowing in on that a little bit, and it's so cool to see it happen. And I'm so glad you guys got to talk to him.
Yeah, and it was a great chat. Go check that out, either on the full episode from Friday or there is a cut down. Every interview we do cut them down. We put them up here on Fightful Overbooked. Same goes with the spotlight. If you watch on the main channel, that gets cut. The interview gets cut out, and we put it up on Fightful Overbooked. So Coughlin getting the win against Christopher Daniels tonight. Onward now to June the 1st, where he has a match against Katsuyori Shibata for the ROH Pure Championship. Kate, I know you're excited for that one. It's on my birthday too, so clearly it's going to be a big match for everybody involved.
It is. I love pure matches because I do. But what I'm learning is I just am a freaking square and I love rules and matches. I like time limits. I like certain conditions that you have to operate under, not like gimmicky stipulations, but when you have great heels and matches like Pure Rules, and I like tease this episode by saying like Joel wants to talk about This Week in Wrestling, and all I want to talk about is the finish to Zack Sabre Jr. and AR Fox. Like, but Zack Sabre Jr. is one of those guys that just knows how to use certain constraints to tell the story that is unfolding in the ring. And that's especially important for things where there isn't necessarily like a character heavy story going into it between the two opponents. But Pure Rules always adds that element. And one thing I like about having the ROH and the Impact post show, we've kind of talked about this back to back, is like they feel like such different ends of the spectrum in pro wrestling, and that like ROH, pretty much everyone's there to be a wrestler and the stories are all wrestling focused. And Impact, you have like the most diverse like spectrum of characters that you're probably going to get in wrestling, and both of those things are awesome. And so when we get to review them back to back, that just feels so much fun and special to me. But yeah, Pure Rules is something that's fun, and it's also cool to see people who like weren't necessarily watching ROH start to learn what Pure Rules are. Like I get asked about it, and clearly I like talking about it, so it's just like it's fun to have an extra device of storytelling that's naturally a part of the match. I geek out for that stuff.
You know, if you love like Pure Rules and things like that, you should consider watching the National Wrestling Alliance, where their TV championship has 605-minute matches. The women's TV championship is a 605. I see you trying to do something here.
Yeah, my monitor just went out, so bear with me for a
second. That's fine. I don't. It suddenly did a weird thing on the StreamYard screen. You're still on. It just went to a different setup. Anyway, you're good.
Oh, that's so weird. Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, you're here. You never left.
Okay.
You never left.
I'm back again.
You're back again. Hello, friends.
My monitor was like, enough about this Pure Rules nonsense, Kate.
Ricardo with the super chat saying Kate tutors MJF on rule breaking. Listen, I guess we got to jump right in with some AEW talk. We'll talk about the Punk stuff because God knows we always do. But
we don't even have to. We just need to put it for the thumbnail so that people come, and I don't care if it's false advertising. I just want the views.
It's true. It works for everyone else. Why can't it work for us in our journalistic integrity? We never said we were journalists.
No, we're not.
We're not at all.
I don't write anything, and I don't talk to sources. I don't talk to wrestlers. I talk to like 3 that are friends. I talk to LSG and I talk to Dan Barry, and usually it's about snacks or baseball.
In that order.
Basically, yeah. Dan Barry, we're talking about Wawa macaroni and cheese gimmicks.
Mhm.
And LSG's a Mets fan, so I make fun of him. That's just how the world works. That's about it.
Seems bad to be a Mets fan.
Just a lifetime of torture. I don't know why you sign up for that. People are like, oh, you only like the Yankees because they win. I'm like, that's not the only reason, but it is a nice benefit.
Yeah, it's like me being in Toronto being like, oh, you must be a Leafs fan. I'm like, no, I don't need that in my life. That's just pain and misery, suffering, and everything else. Like, you must love
the other thing, it's like Mets fans break Jets, which is also just like a lifetime of heartache. Like, you are just the New York sports delineation is like that is just one specific area of heartbreak, and then it usually goes Yankees Giants, and it's like hasn't been great this decade, but we at least in our lifetime have gotten some W's.
Fair. So. Brian Lambert saying it technically isn't Dan Barry a snack himself.
Of course, he's a snack with 2 C's.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So we have a pay-per-view on. We have a few pay-per-views next week. We got Friday is going to be a busy night. Well, yes and no. It's going to be busy for me because Impact has the Under Siege show, and that's actually live. And then on the other side, SmackDown's taped, so there's that. And then Rampage is Rampage live this week because pay-per-view?
Sure.
Okay, Rampage.
I think so. I'll put it this way: I haven't heard that it's moved, so I would assume so.
I haven't even thought about that. Let's take a look. We're going to go to allelitewrestling.com for a second. Yeah, so there's that on
of course Friday. You are, you Mark, going to All Elite. Do you go to WWE.com the same amount of time that you're spending?
Rampage this week.
Rampage is taped?
Rampage, they're taping it the same night as, oh, that's right. They originally had the venues. Something happened with the venues and everything got switched around. So yeah, so now we're doing Dynamite and Rampage on Wednesday.
Does it air at the same time?
I have no clue.
Oh God, I hope not.
Know. I won't know until they, do the hype for it on Dynamite.
I like Rampage, okay, but if it's between starting review at 10:10 and having that on at like 5:30 p.m. or having it on at 10 to 11, oh my gosh, I take the early bird special every time. Especially on a pay-per-view weekend. Are you kidding?
I get it. Someone in the chat is saying that it's on Saturday night, so I'll have to double check. But either way, yeah, that's a thing that's going on. So that's Friday. So the only live show that's actually happening is the Impact show. So watch that, and then watch the post show because that'll also be live.
Well, you're gonna not just Impact.
You'll be talking about 2 taped shows. I'm talking about the only live show.
That's fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Y'all can watch the SmackDown Rampage show, but just know in advance that we're talking about taped shows.
Well, I'm ROH is taped too, but it's better when it's taped.
I mean, Impact is taped on Thursdays too, so it doesn't matter.
There you
go. Saturday night, 10 p.m. That's what Scott's saying in the chat.
Oh, come on. It's taped and you can't even give me a time break.
Give me a normal time, God forbid.
Will Washington's AEW.
That's fine. That just means that Friday is a SmackDown only review for you guys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. It's Saturday. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll take
it. So you'll be fine.
No,
less thing to worry about. Saturday night is Night of Champions. That's busy. That's Saturday afternoon, actually, isn't it? Shoot, that's a noon pay-per-view.
It is, and I have to do extra work on that one because Pulowski doesn't watch the Saudi Arabia ones for his moral and ethical standings, which I respect. But what we do is we play a game called Sands of Blind, where Alex doesn't watch it, and I describe the pay-per-view to him, and I sneak in little lies, and he has to detect them. So
you got to find different ways to say, like the Sands of the gimmick that you do.
Sands of Blind.
You got to have a different gimmick for each time they rename the show. It's like Night of Champions needs to be like, I don't know, Blind of Champions. But you know what I mean? Like something
Blind of Champions works. I'll take Blind of Champions. That's a good one.
All right, sure. Blind of Champions.
Blind of Champions.
Sure. Regardless, there's that on Saturday. And then what's on Sunday is Double or Nothing and NXT Battleground. I know most people are going to be watching Double or Nothing. That's fine. Battleground has a few matches that seem intriguing. So that'll be fun to watch when we get a shot. But yeah, it's a busy week coming up.
It is, and I have 2 reviews on Sunday alone.
You do, don't you? How are you guys going to do that? Are you just going to do one long Sunday night review?
I don't heckin' know. We'll probably do an express NXT review. We've done that before, and it was actually really fun. We did between Stand and Deliver last year, I think, and WrestleMania Night 2. We only had like a half hour or something, so we did like a beat the clock gimmick. It was very, very fun to make me and Alex be condensed about our.
I remember that. I remember.
It was pretty good. It was really fun. So maybe we'll do something like that.
Who'd have thought that putting you two on a time constraint would actually benefit your programming?
It was extremely silly because we abided by the clock. Like, we did not give ourselves a second over. But the other thing is, what people don't realize, they're like, oh, Kate and Alex, a 2-hour review. The review part is not what's 2 hours. We've got puns, we've got songs. Like, it's not like we're reviewing the show for the full 2 hours. It's like, it's all the other silly stuff, which is actually the stuff that makes us money. So
the meandering is what people tune in for. I get it.
Yeah, half our viewers don't even watch NXT. So
once again, I get it. NXT has become that show that it's like, I'm trying, man. There are some weeks where I'm like, yeah, no, I'm enjoying this. And there are other weeks where I'm just like, can't do it tonight. Can't do the silly. Don't have the time. Can't do it. Find another date. And then I realize
it's when it goes nonsensical. Like there's good episodes that like even Alex and I like, which we got one of those 2 weeks ago. That was really solid. And then there's silly, which teeters on ridiculous, which a lot of people can buy into. Like our friend SP3 who's on here is always like, I like after school special wrestling. Like, it makes me laugh. It's like, I don't, but I can understand it. And then there's NXT stuff where you're just like, none of this makes any sense, where I think collectively nobody can really buy in, unfortunately. So it's a spectrum, and we have a lot of fun reviewing it. But as far as Sunday goes, my guess is we'll do like an abbreviated controlled silliness review is what I'll call it, and then we'll probably have AEW on the other screen. AEW has like 7 hours of a pay-per-view, so it's okay if we take a little bit of a break for part of it.
Yeah, plus a 4-hour post-show scrum that I'm sure, you know, if we all collectively text and DM Will Washington, he will get it down to 45 to an hour.
That's all we're looking for.
Listen, man, people made fun of WWE for doing the post-show, you know, press conferences and being like, oh, they're just trying to do it like AEW. And I'm like, actually, in many ways, they're doing it better than AEW in that they're keeping it to a certain time frame, and it works. And we all know what we're getting into when we walk into that room to ask questions to a bunch of wrestlers who are mostly keeping kayfabe. Sure, why not?
It's also just so corny when people... It's corny enough when people are like, they're copying a wrestling company. Well, yeah, sometimes companies do things other companies have done. And the other thing is, if it's been done in regular sports, I don't think you get to say that it came from the wrestling company. Like, that's what annoys me, is it's like anytime they were like, oh, well, this company does a pre-show. It's like, well, regular sports do pre-shows all the time. And they're trying to like make your product feel modern and fresh. Like, of course they're going to do it. So,
also, like WWE used to do this thing back in like the 80s and shit. So.
Well, it's like
nothing's original. Nothing is original.
Nothing's original. Like it's just, it comes from real sports or WWE or WCW most of the time, and then you're innovating off of that. It's kind of how I'm like, I remember a friend of mine who's in a band who was like, look, we're all copying the Beatles on some level here. Like that's what I always go back to with so many things in any art form, is just like, at the end of the day, like you're innovating off of a base that has already been set by major wrestling companies that have come before you.
We're all ripping off another band until the other band tries to sue us. And then we have to go into a room with a guitar and play the same 4-chord songs over and over again to prove a point.
Yeah, then Ed Sheeran has to like miss family funerals and stuff because he's out there defending his own songs.
You also heard the Stern interview.
I did.
That was where I was coming.
I did.
It's hilarious. Ricardo, by the way, sent us another super chat. I heart the long shows is a big part of my day. Well, we're happy that you enjoy the long shows. They make us crazy sometimes, but they're enjoyable when we get to be with our friends and do our thing and like be on screen with our friends and also be with our friends in the chat. So that's always good stuff.
Heck yeah.
Not the reviews though. You guys should be doing that in an hour.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I tried. Where do we want to start?
superfluous stuff is the money making stuff. That's all I'm saying.
It's true. It really is.
On Tuesdays, it is for sure.
Krista and I meander like mad. We keep it within the Impact world, but like we meander. We just talk shit about anything.
Oh my God. I've felt so bad too. The past 2 weeks we've gotten you guys on so late.
Oh yeah.
This is just a funny. Reg thought I was like pulling his leg because the past 2 times on Thursdays I've gone onto the StreamYard. The StreamYard instance, not my internet, has been crazy glitchy, and it's just started playing Blue Chew ads, and I can't turn them off. Not when we go live, but when I've entered the studio, and Reg was like, "Oh, Kate's like pulling my leg on like these Blue Chew ads or whatever," and I'm like, I actually can't stop them. I had to leave and enter the studio like 3 different times. So we're late going live, and the shows are back to the longer format, so we're still adjusting like our time. But yeah, I like we can talk. AEW had some big stuff happen. SmackDown and Raw less so, but like what I like when we kind of talk about things from a higher view, and also when we get to shed light on like New Japan having their pay-per-view today rules, and I like talking Impact and ROH and stuff on here too. So we can go high and we can go low, whatever you want to do.
I mean, who's going to win the New Japan Strong Women's Championship tonight? We'll start there.
You know, it's so interesting because I think the obvious answer is Mercedes, but what did you say?
Is it?
I feel like it is, but I also feel like she's doing something that's so different right now that I don't know. Like, I don't know what the end result there is. I think it would be really nice for Willow to have. I think it would make sense for New Japan to put it on Willow, especially because she is an extremely over and popular talent right now, but the storyline that she's in AEW doesn't really have an opening for title shots. So her having a different company's title, I think is a super, super smart thing to do. If you're any company in the world and you don't want to put it on Mercedes, that's just kind of nuts because of the level of exposure you get. But like from a consistency standpoint, and just I don't know what Mercedes' plans are because she seems so I don't want to say above the landscape because that makes it sound like it's her ego, but right now she's doing something that is so different than kind of these traditional company runs that we've seen. So I'm very interested to see, but God, it's so cool that it's happening like this. Like New Japan being on fire again after such a long like struggle with the pandemic, and they had the title on Evil, and that was so weird and overbooked and bad, and it feels like they're back to firing on all cylinders. I already put over Zack Sabre Jr., but other than the fact that title is so ugly, I think it's a really interesting one for him to have and for New Japan to have. Kind of looks like a gold foiled chocolate bar, but that's besides the point. Like
literally a TV. It's the New Japan World TV title. It's a television set. Come on, Kate, get with the times.
It looks like a watch.
Yeah,
it looks like a candy watch. It does not look good.
There was a guy who showed up at an AEW taping, I think it was maybe at UBS, where he was wearing a giant like Rolex. I took a screen cap of it and it ended up going viral, but the guy was sitting in front row and he was wearing a legitimate giant watch as a title belt. That is different from the New Japan TV title.
Marginally.
That one TikToked. The other one did not.
That one carrying crossed.
Yes, that one carrying crosses the road. Monet and Vodka Mercedes Monet or Stephanie Vodka tonight. I mean, I'm pretty sure Mercedes goes to the finals. And then the other side, you've got Mobile Kogo versus Willow Nightingale. I think it's Willow winning the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Shibata holds the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Sure. Aussie Open have the New Japan Strong Tag Team Championships. Willow going into Forbidden Door in Toronto and putting that title up, or having a match against someone like Jade Cargill, who might still have the TBS title at that point. There are opportunities for Willow Nightingale, more so than Mercedes, in terms of merging her into AEW traffic with the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, because it's not the AEW Women's Championship. And if you want Mercedes to come in, you want her to be going after the biggest prize, not walking in with the company's new belt that maybe doesn't make her feel as big as she should be upon presentation. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I don't know if I agree with it. And I think that's partly A, some of the fun of it, and B, just not knowing what her plans are. She said she's moving to Tokyo. So she is working the New Japan Stardom umbrella, I think.
I think she's going to get a tear in Tokyo. I don't think she's going to move there full time.
No, but like she's not. That was not a courtesy run. Like I think she's going to be doing some work there. I don't think that was like a let me stop by and do this cool thing, and now I'm going to be working just American television. Like I think she's doing what she kind of said she's going to do in character, and she's going to, have her impact and leave her footprint on a lot of different companies, which is so cool. I think the big question is she going to Wembley? Man, what do you think AEW's expectations were for selling without announcing anything on the card? Do you think they thought we're going to sell based on the idea of the experience, or do you think they were like, we'll probably get between 40 and 50,000, and then as we announce the card, things will unfold?
I think they had both in their head. And I know that sounds like I'm hedging, but realistically, I think they knew they were going to find a sellout regardless. At the same time, I also think they know what happens when Tony talks a big game on social media or on a TV program or in an interview. People jump at every little morsel and blow it up. And for better or worse, that ends up playing a role in how much success or how much of a success something is going to be. We've seen pieces of that. Sometimes people put the cart before the horse when it comes to wrestling too. They assume something, they get it in their head, and it's got to happen this way. It's gonna happen. It's got to happen. Then it doesn't happen, and they get upset. Like the Sting versus MJF match that people are clamoring for at All In. I know that look you gave me, but it's also like people are sitting there and just being like, you got to do it. That's the match. That's the big match. If you're not going to bring someone in, you have to do Sting's retirement match. And it's like, do you though? Because it doesn't feel like there's a reason to get there other than through Darby Allin. I wouldn't go there, but there are people who want that. And they think that the only way to enjoy the show is to do it that way. That being
said,
the
thing with MJF is like, people love to forget that he's fantastic in the ring. And I don't get it. Like, I don't know why people don't think MJF versus, like, I don't think it's going to be him and Will Ospreay, because I think we're going to have Kenny and Ospreay. But, like, do people not think MJF can hang with someone from New Japan? It's just so odd to me that people, like, love to forget that he's really good. And every time he goes out there, people are like, oh, yeah, I forgot. He's great at wrestling. I just don't get why, especially when he's constantly talking about how New Japan sucks. Like, all you have to do, it could be MJF versus Tanahashi. It is going to be great. And then whatever you want to do at Wembley, I don't even know. I can't even think about what those possibilities are. But with the Mercedes point, I think there's an opportunity. I don't think you want her to have that New Japan title if you're going to do either her versus Jade or her versus, like, in a triple threat, Jamie Hayter and Saraya. I feel like
that match at all, by the way.
I do. I don't like it for Wembley. I think if you're gonna have Saraya and Jamie Hayter, it should be the two of them. Like, that's too special of a moment for two women who are, like, they should have it the same way that Gunther and Sheamus had it. Like, they deserve it to be the two of them. Like, I don't think you have to shoehorn Mercedes in there. If I could have her facing anybody from the AEW umbrella right now, especially if that's a champion, this Athena run, and Mercedes is like begging because Mercedes is so good at working women. I mean, she's one of the best in the world. She's good at working against anybody, but, like, I love her approach in matches to women who are wrestling with the style that Athena's leading into right now. And let's not forget, Athena has an incredible acrobatic side to her, but this other side just kind of came alive. So the idea of a Mercedes and Athena match definitely is something that intrigues me. I don't think they would think that's big enough for Wembley. It's big enough for me for Wembley as a fan. I don't know if we get her there. I think it's more likely, depending on when his contract is up, I think it's more likely that you get Edge and Christian in like a major tag match at Wembley.
I don't think Edge is done.
Do we know? I just know it's like coming soon. but
yeah,
I don't know if they said when.
I don't think he's done for another year. I could be wrong, and this
Okay.
is something that's been asked about before, but if he wants to do the last match in Toronto, that's August 19th. That's when SmackDown's in Toronto. I don't know what the plan is after that for him, whether or not he actually still wants to go. When he was asked about it at Elimination Chamber, he was like, I think I could still go for a little while longer, maybe a year past what I said, which honestly at the time was September of 2022. And so August 2023, that's pretty much a year later. I don't know what his plan is. I don't think that works in Wembley as much. Only because it's like, why Edge and Christian? I understand that the reasoning why Edge and Christian, but for the British fan, the UK fan, why Edge and Christian?
Well, my thinking is that
why not Goldberg?
We already talked about that, and I'm not going to hurt myself by bringing that back up. But with this Hardy's run, I'm thinking like you could do FTR because and Edge and Christian and the Hardys. That would be the thing that I think they would view as marquee. But I have a friend in the UK who said, he was like, I think people feel this weird idea that like they were like, we love wrestling over here. It's not just the UK. Like, we don't need it to be Will Ospreay. Like, we are excited about FTR and CM Punk and the Elite. They're like, we're excited about the AEW product. Like, you don't have to. They were like, they feel like the narrative has been so pushed on this. Like, we need it to be the UK talent represented. And they were like, it's awesome with like a Saraya or Jamie Hayter or like, I'm assuming Pac will work his way onto the card, like things like that. But they were like, we also just like the product we're excited for that. Like, we're excited to see all of the people that we don't normally get to see just by happenstance. So
yeah,
it seems like marquee names would be great to probably push it to like the sellout level. But like, there's a lot of people that are just excited in the UK to see AEW. Like, just want to see it. Just want to see it. And just this returning batch of like Miro and Andrade and stuff like that, I think is people excited for a rejuvenated product in general.
And that kind of adds to my point of like, why bring in someone like Edge at that point? If you're going to have this new refreshed roster of 2 shows that have very good talent at the top, isn't that enough? I mean, you want to bring in a few surprises, and Ospreay is a good surprise, and I understand people being like, yeah, okay, it doesn't have to be Brit Rest talent. Those are there, but I don't know if you need as much of the nostalgia push now that you've hit over 70,000 tickets sold.
It's crazy. I think the answer to your question of why would just be literally because you could. Like I think that's a perfectly suitable response in that like this will be their biggest crowd by tens of thousands of people. This will be about 10,000 or 10 times the size that they do at Arthur Ashe, right? So like if you just want to do something incredible in front of the biggest crowd you've ever had, I get that. Like, go for it. But we'll see. I'm very intrigued about what that's going to look like because, as you pointed out, we have so much programming before it. We've got Double or Muffin coming up, and you have Forbidden Door, and then you've got All In and All Out and All Over and all over the place. So, All Elite, yes. So we'll see.
Jericho and Cole is now an unsanctioned match. Jeremy and I were talking on In the
Falls
Weeds.
Count Anywhere, right?
Falls Count Anywhere, but it's also unsanctioned, so it has no bearings on the official AEW ranking system that they don't employ anymore. Anyway, Jeremy and I were talking. We were just like, how do you get to Cole and MJF? Because of what was reported in the Observer this week, where the MJF promo was supposed to be Britt Baker approaching MJF and being like, keeping that title warm for Bebe. Now that we potentially know where they're going next, don't know for sure, but let's run with that assumption that it's Cole and MJF next. I asked Jeremy, I'm like, how do you get past Cole and Jericho with Jericho winning the match? And they just answered the question for us, made it unsanctioned. Jericho will win. Jericho's not going to drop another pay-per-view loss. He's not going to drop a loss to he's not going to drop 2 big match losses in a row. In that he lost to Starks at the last pay-per-view. He lost to Roddy Strong in his first singles, match on AEW TV. This is this is a big match for Jericho, and it's also a big match for Cole. Cole losing an unsanctioned match still keeps him in the title picture.
Sure. I would, the only caveat I would say is if it's fruitless. If the Jericho Appreciation Society breaks up because of Jericho loses because JAS breaks up, I could definitely see that happening. My heart would sing, but I never like to speculate on injuries. But if it was Jericho Appreciation Society came out and Kyle O'Reilly was there and they could even the odds, I think that would be just the most incredible moment. I have no idea where he is in his healing. It's a very intense surgery, and he also has diabetes that he was like trying to regulate during all of this. But that would be an amazing moment. My guess is Jericho goes over because of what you said. Like, he's actually had a few losses where a win could probably help him. But if there's a Daniel Garcia turn or something, that could be really cool. Sammy Guevara probably wouldn't be out there anyway, right? Because he's got his 4 Pillars match. So you could do some stuff with Daniel Garcia, who's a phenomenal talent and feels really lost in the shuffle right now. He's got kind of nothing going on.
Who needs anything to do, really? It's wrestling.
Well, I would assume the wrestlers would, Joel.
Nah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Because here's the thing. Daniel Garcia on Collision with who they're putting over there feels like it makes a lot of sense, just like from a stylistic standpoint. So breaking up an overdue breakup for that faction would be something that I could see leading to a Jericho loss, but
maybe they do Undisputed Era versus JAS.
JAS, yeah.
And that's your blood and guts match, because you're going to do 5-on-5 of presumably with the Elite and Blackpool Combat Club. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that Anarchy in the Arena ends with Takeshita joining BCC with Dawn by his side, and then we bring in Kota Ibushi, and that is either the Forbidden Door match or that is a match later on. It shouldn't be blood and guts because that's a cage match. It's 5-on, traditionally it's not a 5-on-5 match, is it? It's usually 4-on-4 for blood and guts. Am I right or am I wrong?
For blood and guts, it's 4. In War Games, it's sometimes 5.
They don't own that though.
They don't, but it's the exact same thing. So
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what
it's wrestling. You can do whatever you wanted, right? But I also think there's something really special if you let the blood and guts match just be the women's match this cycle. That feels like you've done something, because what you don't want is like 2. I feel like 2 blood and guts matches taking up an entire Dynamite makes it feel really unspecial, and you don't want to run that stipulation twice in a short period. So I don't know what you do with that, but you could have an entirely different type of match that you took from WWE or WCW that someone will say is capping. It's fine.
I mean, listen, WWE runs 2 War Games matches in their show.
War Games!
You can run 2 blood and guts matches, one for the women, one for the men, and it'd be the same.
You would have to do it, but don't they usually do it on pay-per-view? Because they don't.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, doesn't mean AEW has to. Make it a big. I don't want to make one for Collision and make one for Dynamites.
You could. I don't know. I kind of like just letting it be the women and figuring out something else. Like it would just make it feel more special, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Double or Nothing. Honestly, the 4-way pillars match isn't doing much for me. They either have to give me a real good go home moment on Wednesday, or I'm really just looking forward to the rest of the card. I'm even looking forward to a rematch between Taya Valkyrie and Jade Cargill. At least this time we don't have the stupid can't use Jaded Road to Valhalla, whatever you want to call it. It can be a legitimate one-on-one match.
Yes and no. I just so the 4 pillars thing I'm in on more than a lot of people, not because I think the execution has been great, but because I think the overall story there and the attempt to do something they haven't done in AEW before is pretty cool. Like I'm sold on the idea of like everybody had these video vignettes with their mentors and that all those mentors went away, right? And this might mean like now they're stepping into the pillars that they really are, as our friend Ryan on the Mark Orders likes to say. They're growing into walls, pillars growing into walls here. I think that part of it's really cool. I feel so like kind of just bad for Sammy Guevara, because this has just felt like they just don't know what they're doing with this guy. Like, they don't know if he's heel, they don't know if he's face. It feels like they're trying to rehab him through a reality show that had 7 episodes and hasn't been good. Like, it feels like he's so lost in the shuffle, and I don't think it's even on him, but they're like, okay, well, he can't be a heel because MJF's here. Well, what if he's a comedic heel for a minute? Okay, well, what if he's just a face? And then, like, he's not even getting reactions in his hometown is a rough thing. Like, that doesn't feel like it's on him. It just feels like things got gummed up with him and Scorpio Sky, and they were like, we'll just make him Jericho's lackey again. And they never actually like addressed what they want to do with this guy. And so that's been difficult, but I am in on it because I think the ways that MJF participates in matches and the type of match that this is, like, I'm more sold on the idea than I have been on the execution of it. Taya and Jade, I just feel like there's still no chance that Jade drops. Like, it really feels to me like they're just waiting for Chris Stoutlander. So it's just kind of a bummer, because I think like Jade's strengths are so much more in like the star power and charisma arena necessarily than in ring. So it's like, when it's inevitable every time, and I'm also not expecting a ton from the in ring, that just I can't really get like into the story that is.
Breaking news, by the way, Mercedes Monet advances to the finals. No surprise there.
No, that's awesome.
The match, though, was really good. If you see me looking over, I'm just keeping an eye on them.
Are you good? I'm glad.
Yeah, no, the match was really good. Go check it out. Mercedes Monet and Stephanie Vacker from AAA. Really good stuff. Was she CMLL? I don't. Sorry.
Her name's been like, it's been fun to see. I feel like there was this generation of women's wrestlers on the independents that people were like talking about, and that like Willow, and she got signed, and like Lady Frost isn't signed yet, but like she's debuting in AEW, and she's working ROH consistently, and like Roxanne went on to NXT, and now there's like this other crop that's sneaking up. Like Steph's one of them, Sawyer Wreck, oh my gosh, Steph Delander too. Additional stuff. Like, it's fun to see like, okay, now these people seem to have found a home. What's coming up for the next group? And like, maybe it's in New Japan. Like, you guys interviewed Hyann, and that was awesome, because her aspirations are for New Japan, like not even here. It's
Hyann
so cool.
Was such a good interview and so much fun to chat with. She's another one. Vacker, by the way, has been around since 2009.
Wow. Okay. Very cool.
And she's from CMLL, but yeah, she's been around. She wrestled in your favorite Japanese promotion, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes.
My favorite one?
Yes. Ice Ribbon.
Ice Ribbon?
Yes.
My favorite.
So you know that she's a very good wrestler.
She's great. She's the Ice Ribbon Princess Queen.
Yeah. Anyway, Willow's up next against Momokogo, so that's going to be a good match to watch. Yeah, if someone in the chat's being like, good to know Joel's not paying attention to his own show. I'm paying attention to both. I'm paying attention to Kate while I'm watching New Japan with the sound down.
Doesn't take that much to pay attention to me and talk a lot, so.
Huh?
What?
What? What? What?
What?
What?
What?
Give me a hell yeah. Anyway, yeah, so Taya Valkyrie coming in to me was so cool, because
and then they were like, you're going to be entirely on 5:30 p.m. rampages. How do you like them apples?
Yeah, and then they were just like, and then they do what they do to a lot of the signings, gender non-specific, but honestly, it happens a lot to the women too. But I think the women have more of a microscope on them because there is such less time allotted to the women, so we see it a lot more ahead of us. It happens to the guys too, let's face it. But yeah, seeing Taya show up was great. And then in the back of your head, just being like, oh, I hope they don't do what they do to all the women. And then they do it that way. That's frustrating. You know, I expect more. And that's why I would love to see her walk out with the TBS championship and then have Jade start merging into world championship territory, world women's championship territory.
She should. She really should. There are some, you're right, like it's not gender specific in that like Jay White, the biggest signing, they were like, you're going to debut right after everybody's upset about what happened at WrestleMania, and then nothing.
No, everyone's just upset about what happened with Jay White.
Yeah, everyone's like, hey, what? But he's also feuding with Ricky Stark, so by nature that just feels very important. The thing with Taya was, I think she was kind of the first person that it felt like, oh, maybe Jade is gonna drop to her, and then it just immediately felt like, no, that's not the case. And you're right, because the for better or worse, and I think it's for better and worse in some ways, the Outcast storyline is cannibalizing a lot of time on Dynamite. Now, in a lot of ways, that's good because you're getting like 8 or 9 women on television. It would be nice if that was spread out more over 2 hours, but that automatically just demotes the TBS championship, unfortunately. So, and it's Roman Reigns syndrome. Like, Jade has just run through everyone, and then you finally bring in someone from the outside, and it's like, yeah, but we've kind of made it clear that that's probably not going to be the person that beats her either. I really liked what Pulaski had said of like, if you had Jade drop to Toni Storm or Ruby Soho, and she immediately had an impetus to join the Good Girls in the day one side of the Outcasts of like, well, I didn't give a crap about any of you because she's healed, but now they have my title and they broke my win streak, and so now I want my revenge. And then you have Jade, who's built like a goddess and can do some destruction in that match. Like, it automatically makes all of that feel more interesting. It feels like they said it's Chris's to take, and they were like, we don't care if that means she's injured for a year. It's Chris Statlander's to take. So it just feels like we're buying time.
It does, and it's very frustrating because Chris, I say this with a lot of respect for Chris Statlander. And I say this not from a negative point of view, but just from a promoter point of view. You have Chris come back from one injury that kept her out for 8 months. And unfortunately, she goes down right away with another one. I know in wrestling we say, don't put the injury prone moniker on somebody. But when you're out for a collective year and a half, that affects your, the expectations that are on you. So I'm just wondering what it means for Chris Statlander, and if we should really care as much about her being the one to beat Jade of all people.
I think you got to look at the type of injury it is too, which is like in the way someone gets injured. Wrestling is so weird like that. I think she will come back to it uproarious pop. And I think as long as she is healthy, she's going to be like the workhorse that I feel like maybe that title should have, because the women's world title is defended so much less frequently. But I don't think there would be a loss of momentum behind it if Chris was coming back to beat Willow, if Chris was coming back to beat Athena, if Chris was coming back to beat Taya, like anybody else that it would have made sense for Jade to logically lose to in the stories that they actually bothered to build out. Especially, I thought like, okay, now the baddies are gone, so now she's vulnerable. Now it's time for her to lose, and it doesn't feel like that's happening. So I do think that Chris should win the title upon coming back. I don't know if it has to be for Jade, because it wasn't like there was some overwhelming story between the two of them that says like she had to win it from Jade. She just needs to win it at some point. So it feels like it's almost like another thing that I give a lot of credit to Pulaski for was like Sami Zayn needed to win it from Roman. Cody Rhodes just needed to win it at some point, which was his justification for like Sami should have won it, not Cody. There wasn't like an overwhelming need for Cody to have won it from Roman, but Sami had 8 months of needs to win it from Roman. That's kind of how I feel about this. Is just like Chris just needs to win it at some point. It's not a huge personal thing between she and Jade.
And that's the thing. You can either make it personal upon her return, or you can have Chris Statlander. And I think you can do both. Have her go through a bunch of matches to eventually get to Jade. Not necessarily Jade throwing people in her way, but just Chris proving herself as a badass who can not only stay healthy, let's face it, but also, reprove to the audience that she is ready, willing, and able to take that title and take on all comers.
Sure, I kind of want her to just win it because Jade's had it so long that I don't want to sit through another 3 months of Jade Cargill squashes while Chris proves herself. Like, just
I mean, you probably wouldn't. You probably just sit through Chris Stoutlander winning a bunch of matches while Jade looks on the TV.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
You won't, because Dark's gone, so you probably won't. You won't see much Jade going on there.
No, that is a very good point.
Anyway, I guess we should talk about it.
So, what do you want to talk
about? I hate that.
So I did it.
So they announced Collision, to the surprise of nobody, on Wednesday at the Upfronts. Jeremy and I were live with Andrew Zarian, watching the Upfronts live, talking about it on In the Weeds, and we noticed that the CM Punk stuff was wiped from it. There's been a lot of talk since then. Seems like Ace Steel is somehow at the middle of all of this again, somehow. But
he's got that dog in him.
He's got that dog in him. Well, what the thing about Ace Steel to me, or it's not even about Ace, it's about CM Punk. And I said this on the Friday show. It's that Punk, for better or worse, is so loyal to a group of people that he is friends, that he calls friends, family, whatever, that he will go to bat for in every way, shape, and form. And so, for better or worse, Ace Steel reportedly back, if you listen to Nick Hausman and he had dropped an exclusive that, he's back and he's working, although he is telecommuting, so he's not live at the arena. He is Skyping in, Zooming in, whatever he is. He's just not there with everyone else. I would go out on a limb and say that people know about this. Otherwise,
I hope so, because that's been a thing at AEW. Let's be honest. Like, Leva Bates didn't know her contract was ending.
Yes. But I'd like to think that there are people who are aware that Ace, I don't think that they send like a company-wide email being like, welcome back, Ace Steel. But I think it's been more of a like, yeah, listen, Ace is still working for us. We're still getting our use of him. He's just not here. We're using his brain. We're not using his mouth. So biting. That was a biting joke. Allegedly. So with all this in mind, we don't know if Punk is coming back. We don't know if Punk is, I put it in the thumbnail. Is this a power play? Because right now, the big thing that seems to be going on is Punk being like, Ace has got to be there live. And others, no, that's not the only thing. But it feels like it's one of the things that were in the miscommunication, whether or not Ace will be there live with them.
So the thing that struck me as odd about this from the beginning was, as reported by Fightful Select, this was Jericho's idea to bring Ace Steel back, allegedly.
Yes, Jericho, who, by the way, is playing all sides and doing it so perfectly well.
Well, so this is my other thing, right? Like you mentioned, it seems as though CM Punk is extremely loyal to people, to his guys. He also seems like a really big gesture guy. Like, I could see him being frustrated by this. And this feels like a very possible scenario, knowing a little bit about what we know about the AEW backstage and their inability to communicate things. I could see Jericho being like, what if we brought Ace Steel back, that everybody who was involved in the incident has their jobs. Let's say they view it internally as that whole brawl was chaos. Let's say they view it as Punk thought he was getting ganged up on by like 6 guys, so he threw the first punch. The Elite thought they were just going there to talk to them. Like, let's say they chalk it up to that. And then they say, Jericho says, what if we brought Ace Steel back? And they say, all right. And Punk says, okay, that's a cool gesture. And then they're like, well, actually, he's going to be remote. I could see CM Punk being like, you got it. The gesture that you made in this whole thing was you're going to bring back Ace Steel, and now you're like half-ass bringing him back. Like, I could see him, based on like the way it seems like he operates, being like, you made this gesture and then you half-assed it. Like, I could see that being a thing. I could also see them wiping the brand stuff not being as big of a deal as everybody made it out to be. Like, maybe they want to wait until Collision is actually announced for that, or maybe things escalated between CMFTR and the Young Bucks and the Elite, and they are going to be able to work together under the same brand. Like, I think everybody just jumps to this like doomsday thing because we love to like dive into this dramatic world. But I think it could be like a little bit more nuanced than people are necessarily giving credit to. I don't think it's a deal breaker. It sure seems like CM Punk is coming back for Collision. I don't know. It all seemed very, very, very silly. And I just would recommend following along on what's happening with Fightful Select, because I don't like to talk shit on other people in this space. But what I will do is put a vote of confidence behind the things that Sean reports, because it just feels like the game of telephone has gotten way out of hand for a lot of parties involved, including CM Punk. Most importantly, I had no idea that Danhausen didn't have nipples. Did you know this?
I had heard rumors. It's nice to know that they are official.
It's confirmed by Lars and CM Punk.
Yes. No swearing.
No swearing.
No swearing.
No nipples. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's the way it goes.
And if you want to win an AEW World Championship, you got to wear Danhausen's boots.
That's it.
That was a story that I broke, by the way. I inadvertently broke it. Thank you. Because I had mentioned on the pay-per-view, I mentioned that he wasn't wearing his normal.
Good for you.
Like, he's not wearing the Automix boots. Why isn't he wearing his CM Punk Automix boots? And then someone asked, hey, you weren't wearing your Automix boots. I was like, yeah! So someone was paying attention.
But our own Phil Lindsay pointed out, like, he got asked about that during the press conference, right? And then we find out later he wasn't fully cleared. Like, as implosive as he was at that press conference, there was still a part of him that was trying. It just went way off the rails. But it is like, it feels like everybody loves to jump to the doomsday stuff, and I just don't think it is. And quite frankly, I don't think there's a doomsday scenario, because even if it ends in CM Punk, who is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, being not coming back to work, I don't care. It's still cool that we get a second AEW brand rocking and rolling. Like, that rules no matter who's there. So
by the way, it's set Mercedes and Willow for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship tonight.
How cool is that? Like, I say all the time, like 3 years ago, could you have imagined we'd be like, oh, sick, Willow Nightingale, and at that point, Sasha Banks for the NJPW. Like, that's just nuts.
Yeah, it's awesome. Great stuff. I'm excited for both women. I'm excited for Willow, who's wanted a match like this for a while. So this is good stuff. I'm seeing also AEW trademarked the Collision logo, and they also the term transfer portal. So taking from the soccer world, the football world that Tony Khan is used to, I guess this draft thing, or at least the hard split, is a little more hard, as hard as we imagined.
Use blueshoe.com code Fightful.
Exactly. There you go. I was expecting that. Anyway, the Punk stuff is strange to me. I understand potentially what's going on. I don't understand the lack of playing ball that's going on. And the reason why I was saying it was a power play is if Tony Khan relents and basically gives Punk everything he wants in this case, that's just to get him for that June 17th Collision. If I'm seeing Punk, I'm just like, I hold all the cards. I hold all the power. I've already made my boss look like an idiot once at a press conference. This is an opportunity. And I say this with respect because I know Tony deals with a lot of shit. But this is one time where it's like, you got to stand firm, and you got to take no prisoners in this case, because again, this is all speculation on my part, but like, if you're giving in 100% to one of your wrestlers' demands, then what are we doing? Who runs the show? Who runs the ship?
I mean, it's felt that way to me for a long time. Like, I'm a big believer in precedent, and so when MJF held up a pay-per-view and the first thing you did was make him champion when he came back, and I like Max as champion, and I think MJF is a great wrestler in virtually every asset of this, and I do think it is his time. I think it's great. You cannot reward that kind of behavior over and over again, though. Like, it happened with MJF, it happened with CM Punk, it's happening with CM Punk possibly again. It is all speculation, so I don't want to like it's kind of like if X, then Y, right? Like if that is the case, then, and I think for better or worse, Tony Khan can see things from other people's point of views. And like one thing about CM Punk is like he has a reason to feel the way he feels, whether you agree with them, completely up to you. But he'll usually give you a reason that you can wrap your head around and say, I understand where you're coming from. That's why the Instagram story posting is such a pain in the ass. It's because sometimes it's like, I get exactly what you're saying. Putting it on Instagram, probably not like the best way to go about it. But like, even that was funny. Like all the nonsense about Brian Alvarez. And then he has like this little video of him and he's extremely calm. He's just like, this is weird. People are weird. Parasocial relationships are weird. Like all things I agree with and in a controlled tone. And I think people just assume like if he's posting that way, it's completely unhinged. And he might just be like, this Alvarez guy is a goon. Like it's you like assign weight to how people are acting when they're posting shit. And it's just silly. But to your point, I think Tony Khan has a lot of work to do on the asserting standards piece of his job. And if that's not somewhere he has a strength, something that he should pass off to someone who is not an active wrestler in any way, shape, or form.
It doesn't, to me, it doesn't help when you go on socials and you say something like, basically keep my name out of your mouth because I'm sick of being talked about. And
Smith's gonna come slap you for it.
But then but that's the thing. You say, keep my name out your mouth. And what do? You make a huge news story out of it. That's what continues to bug me.
Which is fair. And I think it's also fair to be like I've said from the beginning, I can't imagine being in either position. I can't imagine getting the biggest signing of the company and having that guy go and trash everything you built. And I also can't imagine being a guy who posts an Instagram story and it is trending and the world is upended by the fact that he posted something about Brian Alvarez. Like that microscope is ridiculous, but it is one that he's under. So it's like something that it's like way deeper than wrestling. That is like a personal boundaries thing that you have to figure out how to set. But in his defense, I'm also kind of like, well, yeah, this guy is subjected to a microscope that is insane. Like I feel like if other people were posting about Brian Alvarez, nobody would give shit. Like it is a little much. And to have it feel like there's a narrative that's being said about you, but you kind of can't come out and say anything about it without it spiraling into something completely different. That's gotta suck. But it is like you just throw gasoline on the fire every time you post a story about it, right? Like it's it goes away so much. In fact, most people are, I feel like at this point, and this is what I feel like most people are saying, not what I'm saying. I think if CM Punk doesn't acknowledge it, people are like, oh, Alvarez and Meltzer. And they just like move on. You know what I mean? Like, I think people are just kind of like, eh.
Yes. I also am from a mindset, and maybe this is like pie in the sky. You got beef with somebody, talk to them privately and squash it. I understand.
Oh, yeah.
Punk, does not like a lot of wrestling media. However, it's never stopped him from A, talking to them allegedly before, or B, having ones that he likes, like ones that he trusts. And again, when he did press conferences for AEW, he was always quite cordial with everybody, minus the one time. But I think a lot of that came down to his cordiality, if that's the word, completely lost it, not on the media, but on the situation, on everything that was happening at work, not at media. So my big point to all this is like, you and Alvarez have a problem. You two have interacted before. It's not like Alvarez is just joined business. Like he's been doing this for a long ass time.
No, but it does. I would get, and I'm not saying either side.
Pay off the record, and you're off the record. And that come on, that guy would.
Sure, but if someone else is dragging something out in a court of public opinion, I understand the reaction being in a court of public opinion. So I get both sides of it. I'm not saying that's the way you should go about any of it, right. But I understand that of just like, oh, this guy can say what he wants about me, but I have to go message him or whatever. Like That's annoying when other people are putting a narrative associated with your name. Sometimes you're just trying to get chicken tenders at a show. You know what I mean? And then it turns into something entirely different.
And also, we don't know who's messaged to, if anyone's messaged anyone.
Right, exactly.
But again, there have been a number of times where Sean, for example, not to drag him into this, but Sean would say, you know, I've reached out to CM Punk directly. I have not heard back. So,
Sure.
you know, there are people who have a line to him. There were opportunities. And again, like it is.
He at any point could do a sit down interview. Nobody in wrestling media is going to be like, I don't want that interview.
Again, say you're off the record in this case, and just there's a conversation to be had. And yeah, court of public opinion does exist. But the point that I'm really just trying to make is like somebody's got to take the high road. And why? No, he doesn't bring in the numbers like this. You don't have as many people watching if we're talking about him. He's great. He'll probably be at All In, but
okay, a spladle into an ankle lock and then into a stretch muffler is one of the coolest endings.
Stretch muffler into a crotch.
What'd you call it? A crotch breaker.
Crotch breaker, because he had both going there. No, but that was the whole thing. Is that like someone takes the high road? Someone reaches out and just says, "Listen, I'm sick of the shit. Let's figure this out, squash the beef, have a conversation." And one of two things happens. Somebody, they have a good conversation, it's productive, and somebody goes, they agree, go on socials and just be like, hey, it's squashed. We're good. That's all we're going to say about it. Leave them alone. Or the alternative is like nothing happens. The conversation exists, but because it's off the record, you agree that it's like, okay, agree to disagree. Clearly we're both, whatever, but we're professionals, so we're just gonna leave it alone.
But if your issue is with, and again, I would much prefer people just be adults. But if your issue is something that somebody says about you in public, I could understand the idea of someone feeling like they can't clear the air the way that they want to by then addressing it privately. I don't think that's the way to do it, but I can understand. Like wanting to say your piece in public if someone starts that in public.
That's
like, for example, like when you're like Kate Stinks on Twitter, I'm like, Joel, you're the worst to ever do this.
Why
the worst there is, the worst there was, the worst there ever will be.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
A Canadian slogan that has not been taken.
No, never.
Not yet.
No one's ever used it. I'm trying to figure out, but listen, in all likelihood, Punk's back June 17th at Collision. They announce the show this Wednesday where it's going to be. I'm a big fan of the story that came out of, if it's not going to be the United Center, it's going to be Daly's Place. And then yesterday, thank God for the Grapsity guys, Phil Lindsay just being like, person I spoke to said that's just not true. And then, of course, the discourse from there became, well, if Phil Lindsay has a source, I wonder who it is. Wink, wink. And of course, we all know that we're all playing around.
We all know that the person that they're talking about is Ryan Nemeth.
I mean, I was going to say it was QT Marshall.
Oh, I like that better because of QTV.
Yeah.
No, I'm into that.
So anyway, if it's not United Center and it's not Daly's Place, where else could it be? The Bell Center in Montreal, so that we make this a truly Canadian Collision tour?
Like, it just feels like such a big leap to be like, CM Punk can't have Ace Steel in person, so the show is scrapped. Like, feels ridiculous.
They're not going to scrap the show. I get that. They're not going to scrap it.
Like, my point being, you could run it in Chicago successfully with or without CM Punk.
But can you? Because then you have to temper expectations. Now, this goes back to the all-in conversation we had, where if somebody speaks a different way, someone's going to assume something's happening that isn't. This is fan investment and fan interest.
Well, let's assume that if CM Punk isn't working Collision, he's released. I think that's how you manage expectations. If he's not working Collision and he's not working Dynamite, what's he working?
I don't think he's getting released unless they got a sweetheart of a deal to get him out of here. And I don't think he's going to take a deal that doesn't include a non-compete. So that does include a non-compete.
Sure. So,
and Tony doesn't.
My thing is
jumping across and talking shit in another
he's
forum.
gonna come to work or he's gonna be gone. So like this whole, I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous to think that they sold the United Center just fine when the Elite did their little satire match, didn't they? Like nobody was.
We all knew what was going on. We knew that Punk was going to be there.
Right. So okay, well, they had no problem pretending that Mercedes was going to show up, and they sold a bunch of tickets off of that, right?
But they didn't have a problem with that. They did have a problem with that because it did burn a lot of fans. That's what I'm saying. It burned a lot of fans, and also again, this was a setting fan expectation issue. This is kind of what I'm getting at. Really, the only person who made it worse than it was ended up being Britain. That stupid pre-tape that someone decided to run and get through instead of anything else. Because leading up to it, like, there was no real inkling other than just people talking that it was good. And people.
Well, there was a story that was set up for her to. There was a story that was set up for her to walk into.
What, the tickets thing?
The tickets thing and needing a mystery partner and fanning the flames. Yes.
They really poorly planned it out. The story sucked is what ended up happening. And then people started fantasy booking their way into a Mercedes Monet. Same thing is happening right now with the Boston, the TD Garden show.
There's just always going to be speculation Mercedes is going to show up until, like, to me, there's a big gap between, hey, we booked the Garden, and hey, there's a story that we're implying she's going to walk into that she didn't. Punk to me is different in that, like, this feels so ridiculous, but like Mercedes, what they did, that was controllable circumstances. This feels like non-controllable circumstances. So I don't think you run Daly's place as a backup to the United Center. There's plenty of other places you could go. Like, I don't know.
And like Tyler's putting on the chat, you know, the last time with the Elite thing, the Elite example you were thinking of, that was at Wintrust Arena.
So run Wintrust. Like,
pardon?
So stay in Chicago and run Wintrust and not the United Center.
Well, no, because you can't. Wintrust was already on the books with Punk there. People already knew Punk was suspended and injured on top of that. So there was the expectation was set. He ain't going to be back on time. Now, since the expectation has been set in a lot of different ways, a lot of different forums that he's coming back, you have to temper those expectations. Or hamper them.
I really think he's probably just coming to Collision. I think it's so stupid.
I do too. I've been sitting here for a long time just being like, this is a roundabout, stupid way to keep his name in our mouths and on our stupid thumbnail. I've been saying for weeks I'd rather not have to put him on the thumbnail and talk about him.
No.
It's bloody.
It gets his views.
Yeah, it gets that's great. What's going to happen after?
CM Punk is a draw. Okay.
The plus delta. Anyway, Punk will be there. Punk will be at the show.
Yeah, he'll be at the show. It'll be in Chicago. Will Ace steal? Who knows? Will Larry? Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
Will Lulu pencil? I sure hope so, because this company has fallen apart since she's left.
Shout out to my buddy. We're talking about the Bell Center for Collision if it's not going to be at the United Center.
There you go.
Yeah, so that'll happen. It's gonna happen. I'm planning to be at the Forbidden Door.
Oh yeah?
I'm planning to be at Collision as well because
I would be at Forbidden Door in a second if it was not running on a Sunday.
Well, listen, when Sean Ross Sapp is like, I'm too good to come to Canada, to my favorite city. He doesn't want to show up allegedly. This is not his favorite.
He fears the Fightful Championship.
That's right. Day 800 next this coming Friday.
Oh my God. Acknowledge you.
Acknowledge me. We the one. The 1000 is like December 12th. Not that I'm pacing that. So because Sean's not going to come to Toronto, because Will Washington is currently working for the company, therefore he won't be covering the show for Fightful.
That's so weird. Yeah.
I just said to Sean, I'm just like, who's going to do the show? And he's like, I guess you are. Here's the stuff. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to cover an AEW pay-per-view instead.
All right. There you go.
Nothing's official yet. I still got to apply, but come on. It's this face.
They'll be like, why is Joe Gacy trying to work media for an AEW pay-per-view?
Should I get the yellow glasses for it too?
There you go.
G-Bro with a super chat saying, hey, I'm late. Y'all say nice things about Double J yet.
Keep sending in money. Maybe we will. Keep doing it. Yeah.
Gonna win those tag titles,
It'll
baby.
take a lot more than $3 to do that, pal.
It's also, that's $2.79 Canadians, which is like $1.50.
Oh, come on.
I know, can't win. You just can't win. What else is happening? Night of Champions is happening.
Trinity debuted.
The match with Coughlin King was good. Ring rust is mostly gone. Looking forward to Under Siege against Giselle Shaw. Said this on the post show for Impact. I am hoping that one of the things she gets fixed is her gear. Again, gender non-specific. If you're tugging at your gear, it's time to get your gear fixed.
Yes.
And that was one of the things that Trinity was dealing with. Something that Ronda Rousey deals with on a match-by-match basis.
MJF has dealt with.
MJF has dealt
Pulled his pants up.
That's right.
Maxwell.
So, either way, I thought Trin was good. I thought it was a good start. And I look forward to what she's going to bring for the summer at Impact. She gets to spend her entire summer in Canada. Good for her.
I'm so excited for her.
Not even the good parts of Canada, like London, Ontario, Canada, and then
look,
Windsor, Ontario, Canada.
Some people were like, she could have gotten herself in a better situation. I'm so excited for that girl. Like, I think it's such an awesome, with the amount of freedom she has, with the amount of control she probably has over her contract, and the level of talent that she's going to get to work, and the possibility of what Impact is doing with Multiverse, what that could lead to with any Mercedes or anybody else that's in like New Japan promotions. I just, I don't know. I was always a fan of her in WWE. Like, I always felt like she got so gypped out of her reign, and I always thought she was so underrated because she came at that like cross section before the Four Horsewomen, but after like the AJ Lee and Paige era was kind of kicked in. She just has looked so happy. Like, I just love seeing wrestlers look that happy. And like I think I said it last time, when even just in her promo, like in an at peace way, like she just looked so like not like out of my skin excited, just like, oh, like I'm this is where I belong right now. Like, I just love when you can see any performer being in the moment like that. And I'm very intrigued to see what she goes on and does, because this is an open landscape. And I feel like Impact more than anybody has an open landscape. Like, I think it's very possible you see Trin versus Athena. I think it's very possible you see Trin versus Willow for a New Japan title or whatever. But like, there's so many great knockouts right with her that she can work. Deanna, Jordan Grace, like Coughlin, who she just started with, right? Like, it's just wrestling is better, and women's wrestling is better with her in it. And I think her being an Impact is one of the same situations like Mercedes, where it's like she's going to raise the visibility of the division there. And I think it's going to do her a lot of good to work with. Like, give me Trinity versus Masha Slamovich. Are you kidding? Like, that's going to be amazing. So it's just such a healthy thing for when the relationship between a talent and a promotion is that symbiotic. It makes me really happy.
I'm really, really curious as to whether or not Trinity makes it down to the shows in Australia.
I am too. I think that's going to be cool.
If she goes down to Wagga Wagga, and she's still working with the company at that point, I would love to see it. I think that'd be really fun. Someone asking if it stopped snowing in Canada yet. Yes, it stopped a while ago. It's beautiful today.
It was snowing?
Like a month ago.
Oh.
There was that one time where I was on the air and I was just like, it's only snowing out. And then it was done.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, why is it snowing? It's April. That's what happens in Canada. The planet's on fire, so people snow.
I'm from upstate New York. We had some snowy like baseball opening days and stuff.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, get a
spring is just still winter until like June.
It's true. End of May. Oh, but then the allergy season. Ooh. I'm in hell.
Yeah, no, me too.
Got to get that Claritin. Game over.
Yep, Claritin D, baby.
I get that Claritin that has it's a 24-hour extra strength, but it's mint flavored and it melts on your tongue.
What?
Yeah, it's great stuff.
That's a thing?
Yeah, it's a little tablet. You don't have to like choke it down with water. Just melts on your tongue. It tastes like mint.
Does it have the decongestant built in?
I believe it does.
I'm gonna need me some of that.
I wonder if it's a Canada only thing. We'll have to find out.
We will have to find out.
We will. Anything else? What else was big? Something
So
happened.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Joel, you know me. I'm not usually like the other than my Peter Avalons and my gasoline wielding Eddie Kingstons. I'm not down bad for wrestlers. I'm not like a thirster. Okay.
Are you sure about that? I heard you hate thirst traps famously.
I sometimes wish things that get me banned on Twitter or towards people who hate women who post thirst traps for no reason. I'm not down bad. I don't thirst over wrestlers. I said multiple times, I think they are CTE prone weirdos who are usually unseasonably tan. Okay. I'm down real bad for Zack Sabre Jr.
Because he catch anybody?
Would propose. I said on Twitter, I'm weak in the knees for a guy who is famous for taking out people's knees. All right. I hope
so.
I would propose marriage to him upon sight because I can't think of a better way to spend my life than watching that guy wrestle these insane matches and call everybody dickheads forever and ever.
Zach, Kate wants you.
I'm down bad.
To propose. And not only that,
I'm down bad.
Kate wants you to tie her up in a pretzel-like formation.
I'm not mad about it.
I know.
Not mad about it.
Go ahead, Zach. Ball's in your court.
His match versus AR Fox on ROH was so damn good, and not taking anything away from AR Fox because he was unbelievable at that. But I know people are calling for like the Danielson match, and it has to happen.
That's the second show I've done in 3 days where that's happened to me.
Not taking anything away from the fact that Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. has to happen. But, like, don't miss what this guy is doing right now because you're so fixated on that. His match with Jeff Cobb was unreal. His match with AR Fox was so, so good. Like, the amount of spots in that match where it's just like, God, that guy has an answer for everything and is always a step ahead. Like, kind of the story that they tell with him is so real, and just the execution of moves wise. Like when he locks in an ankle lock, you are just like, that guy's ankle is going to get broken off. Like when he's in a cravat, you're like, his head is going to smush into itself. Like truly, as much as I'm like joking around, like I went down a rabbit hole while I was watching Twitter and like an unbelievably inspired body of work. Like if you go back to the wrestler he was at the Cruiserweight Classic, it also was doing stuff in that was blowing my mind and like very innovative, especially under the WWE umbrella. But what he's been able to do character-wise, going from like the technical wizard who was always kind of like an arrogant dickhead in a lot of ways, but like he has become such a complete wrestler over the course of like the past probably 4 or 5 years. And some of the stuff I was watching, like his ability to merge story with technical is so unbelievable to me. And I was just like so in love with pro wrestling watching that match because like I feel like technical wrestling, and this is when people are like, you're a nerd for liking pure matches. And I'm like, I understand why you would think that. Technical wrestling, I think sometimes gets the rap of being like slow and methodical and cool technically, but void of story and void of character. The pacing of his matches, the stories in his matches are equally as on point as his technical ability. Like just such great stuff. Like really just was a really fun way to spend some hours yesterday going back and watching his matches. Just everything I like about pro wrestling is like smushed into that guy. So thanks, Zack Sabre Jr. for keeping me entertained while I was locked into Twitter for being extremely sassy to a stranger.
Fred Rosser had juice in the tree of woe and was choking him with a giant steel chain just now.
Yikes. Yeah. You know what happens when Cody gets that move locked in?
No.
It's called a tree of whoa!
My child just woke up because of that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
G-Bro sends a super chat saying, couple loonies for Kate's fancy Claritin fund.
Thank you. I want bougie Claritin. So
I'm gonna find it for you. It's okay.
Please
Going back
Ryan
to
will send you more Reese's cups if you send me fancy Claritin.
yes, maybe I gotta go to New York. I gotta go back to New York. See you and see Zarian and
Hell yeah.
probably nobody else. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll show up for Tony's there. Tony Storm just showed up.
Holy cow.
She just slapped Fred Rosser in the face. She looks good. She's got
yeah, she's been a big piece of that story.
She's got the Gwen Stefani space things going on.
She's got the Minnie Mouse ears happening.
Yeah, the Minnie Mouse ears. Are you gonna kick him in the balls? Kick him in the balls. I see it. In the balls. In the balls. Oh, Fred Rosser.
When I went to New Japan in DC and then Philly, the first night of that, Juice Robinson did a keep my wife's name out your damn mouth. So Tony Storm has been a very big part of that story.
He just kissed Tony Storm. This is getting very weird.
Fred Rosser did?
Fred Rosser just kissed Tony Storm. There's the ball shot.
There we go. That's
Juice just did it and then sent Rosser in for a Storm Zero. Good stuff. Holy shit.
So yes, Thursday's episode of Ring of Honor was made for Kate.
It was, yeah. Mimosa Joe versus Jr.
They are going to get to Samoa Joe versus Zack Sabre Jr. at some point. It was very fun, like a battle of the TV champions kind of angle to go.
On the WWE side of things, I want to bring up a couple of things. One is the Pretty Deadly debut.
Yeah, hell yeah, I love those guys.
How good was that finish? I loved it. A lot of people giving it flowers. It was really smart.
They're great. They're really great.
I've enjoyed them for a long time, and just watching the way that they planned that finish and executed it, doing the getting caught in the ropes again after you've taken out the other guy.
So good.
Yeah. Yes, boy.
Hey, if you want to find out how WWE is going to screw them up by making them a henchman duo, go to FightfulSelect.com where there's more details.
I don't think it's that. I think it's more that for a short term, while someone else is going for the U.S. title, the people that they faced this past Friday are going to be, part of it.
Fingers crossed.
Why the chef's gear? Because they're a snack.
Why not be a chef?
That's right. Why be a chef when you can be
because they're cooking in that match. That's why.
Right. And then on the women's cursed tag team championship side of things, Liv Morgan's injured. Dakota Kai is injured. Shotzi is going to be the replacement. Sorry, I know that's both spoilers and like none of you should be surprised. Shotzi and Raquel are besties. I got that out of Raquel at Elimination Chamber in our interview. So there you go.
Well, Raquel has had an absolute carousel of tag partners anyway.
That's right.
Start the revolving door again. You got forbidden doors and you got revolving doors.
That's right. Raquel's revolving door of tag team championship.
However, isn't that a trio when you consider you have Raquel and Raquel's back? That's already a tag team. Right? And then you throw Shotzi in there? Feels like that's a trio.
I don't think it's going to happen that way. So they're going to do a 4-way match on Raw for the vacated.
Raquel and her back, Shotzi and Natalya, probably.
It's Raquel and Shotzi.
What about Raquel's back?
Raquel's back is Raquel's front as well. It's one person.
She's a double back?
I mean, she would want you to think that. Yes, that is her entire gimmick. The back is back.
The back is back. Oh my gosh, if she ever gets injured and comes back.
The back is back.
Back is back.
She's back and back.
I'm back in the back groove.
Eric
Bishop, back.
Just hating it. What about her legs? It carries that back. Whatever.
That's a good point.
Juice beats Fred Rosser with Tony. Technically, Tony Storm won because she's sitting on top of Juice, who's pinning Fred Rosser.
Hell yeah.
Good for Tony Storm.
You go, Tony Storm, with your Minnie Mouse ears and your hot girl look.
She looks great. Oh God. So you're doing it's Raquel and Shotzi, let's face it. Who else is in there? Chelsea and Sonia, who honestly I wish they would win. And then you've got who are the other two? The MMA girls.
Isla Dawn.
No, are they in this?
Aren't they the fourth?
Are they?
Oh no, they have separate titles. That's
yeah. Tag team match women's title.
Ronda and Shayna. who are gonna win.
Oh, and then Bailey and Io.
That's right.
Right. We should probably not forget about Damage Control, considering we just said Dakota Kai also injured.
Correct. And that was like, they set that up pretty heavily on SmackDown.
So did you see how they set that up? How they explained the injury?
What do you mean?
So they said the Dakota Kai injury happened when Liv. Oh no, the Liv injury. They said the
Liv injury. Yes.
Yes, you saw how the Liv injury was set up.
Yes.
They said it was when Dakota Kai kicked her in the face and then like hurt her shoulder. Do you know how it really happened?
I forget.
Her partner power bombed her onto a group of people and hurt her in the process.
Yep.
The back is hurt because she's carrying an injured woman. That she injured.
I remember seeing that spot and being like, that doesn't feel good, like a smart idea at all.
And it wasn't, because it injured Liv Morgan, unfortunately, but it's not ballet, as they say, even though ballet is a very dangerous sport in and of itself.
It is. Those poor ballerinas, their bodies all break down by the time they're like 35.
You see them feet?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's bad.
It's gnarly looking.
Yeah.
They're not starting OnlyFans.
Well, I mean, they might. Some people might be into that level of pain and suffering on their feet. Anyway, I want Chelsea and Sonya to win those tag titles.
Let me tell you what's not going to happen.
Ronda and Shayna winning?
No, that is what's going to happen.
Shit.
Oh, no.
But what if it doesn't?
I'm happy for Shayna.
Yeah.
Shayna deserves everything.
That's sure. Okay. I would rather see the character work of those two, the aforementioned Karens, winning that match.
Oh, I think they're hysterical and I think they're great. And I'm so glad Sonya is on TV regularly, but they ain't winning it.
It's unfortunate. It's accurate, but it's unfortunate.
Welcome to everything you predict. How does it feel to be on this side of the coin, pal?
I take it or leave it. Is there anything else that really stood out to you this week from the WWE side of things? Oh, actually, I'll give you one. Lisa Leon's back.
Yes, very happy that she is back and cleared. Very confused as to why SmackDown has more NXT tag teams than NXT.
That's right. It was good. I like that. I saw you tweeted that, and I was just like, it's very accurate. But apparently, they were just doing it once just to give her a shot because they didn't have her on main event. So it was fine. It was. It's just good to see Lisa Leon back because she hadn't wrestled a match in almost a year. It was like August last year was her last match, and that was a 4-way tag title match. So it's good to see her back.
Indeed. Very happy she's back.
Anyway,
good on her.
And I'm waiting. And so here's the other thing: you have Sonya and Ronda win the women's tag titles, and just say these are Raw tag titles now, and then Isla Dawn and Alba Fire have the SmackDown women's tag titles, which makes so little sense given the lack of depth in that roster, but it's really the only way they can do it. Your silence is deafening.
Just merge them. Merge them.
I don't disagree.
Fucking merge them.
But why not?
I think I'm not supposed to swear anymore.
No?
I think somebody else got told that. I think Jeremy got told that he's not supposed to swear anymore, which means we're probably all not supposed to swear anymore. This is overbooked. Jonathan.
When?
Sean did. I don't know, last week.
On which show?
I can't remember.
On Spotlight.
Probably on Spotlight.
That's because, it's because the grand old Al Gore-ism, the Al Gore's rhythm is that, the swearing, it's like, 5 minutes in? Don't swear in the first.
Okay. See, I'm good about waiting the 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, we're an hour and 35 in, so we're pretty okay.
Yeah. What was I cursing about?
The tag title situation, the women's tag titles.
Yeah, Danhausen's gonna be mad. Sorry to Danhausen for all the cursing.
He has no nipples.
Yeah, that's true. What's he gonna do?
Yeah.
Squirt milk out of his non-existent nipples?
I mean, he'll squirt it out of something.
Hey, yo, that'll get you banned on Twitter if you make little jokes like that.
Be
careful.
Watch your eyeballs.
Careful.
Watch your eyeballs.
Get banned on Twitter for 12 hours.
Elon's just laughing the whole time while you're banned.
Just joke's on them. Okay, joke is on them. Everybody thought my comment was funny, and I went down this Zack Sabre Jr. rabbit hole. So everybody won. I don't understand why you wouldn't merge the titles, because I don't understand why you bring them up from NXT not to merge the titles. But I also don't understand why they haven't acknowledged that Bianca is the Raw Women's Champion and Rhea is SmackDown 1 and they're on opposite programs.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah, and your explanation was as dumb then as it is now.
No, they'll address it. Honestly, they'll address it next week.
Oh, my feeble,
not next week. The week
my
after.
feeble little mind can't handle 3 hours of, or 3 important pieces of news in my 3-hour program. Oh no!
In like 2 weeks, you'll be sitting here doing the whole like they should have told us, and at the same time being like, I'm glad they're finally telling us. On one show, you're gonna shit on it, and that's on the paywall. And then on Friday, you and Cardoza are gonna be like,
yeah, I'll be glad when they finally resolve it. It doesn't mean they should have 5 weeks of not having it resolved when you told us. You told us that these rules go into effect after Backlash.
Do me a favor.
Why did you go out of your way to tell us that?
Do me a favor.
To lie to us.
Those headphones that you're sorry, the headphones you're wearing?
What?
Where the microphone is on them, can you just like rustle them?
Oh no.
Other side.
Is my audio my headphones?
The whole time. I knew
Oh
it.
no. So this has just been a prop mic?
Yeah, it's just been a prop mic.
You guys deserved better audio for my Zack Sabre Jr. monologue. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, here comes Kyle Fletcher. So that's all that matters right now.
Oh, Kyle Fletcher rules. We should have just talked about the New Japan pay-per-view the whole time.
He's very tall.
He's deceivingly tall.
It's very tall. Is it, where's Dunn?
Go if you ever get the chance to see him live, man.
Oh, I have.
Oh, he's even better live. Like
Yeah.
they're even better live. They're just one of those teams that the energy is so good live.
I've got a photo of him like selling in front of me, looking like death, and it's great. Yeah, no, that was 2019. I saw him.
He's so great.
Yeah, he is great.
I just can't get over, like, I feel like such an old lady. But some of these kids, man, like he's 24.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Just got to get rid of that haircut. Shave those sideburns, Fletcher.
Yeah, but it's annoying heel sideburns.
He doesn't even have any.
They're like, yeah, they're little.
Shock at 29. Shock at 29. Thank you for the super chat. Saying, I said on Grabcity until Sean reports something, I'm not giving any Punk stories credence due to so much conflicting info. I agree. Anyway, Resurgence is humped so far, and Mercedes and Willow is the main event. Yes, I'm very excited for that main event. And you know what, Shock It, I agree with you. I do. We come on here and we talk about it because everyone's talking about it.
Because more people tune in when we make it our thumbnail.
Let's face it.
And it would be false advertising to not talk about what's on our thumbnail, though I have no problem with it. I could talk about Spladles into
Reese's Pieces with caramel.
Do they make Clarendon that's that?
No, but I wish they did.
Me too.
There's also Reese's Pieces with little cookie inside.
Yo.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
You distracted the ADD girl with Reese's Pieces. I get it.
Reese's Pieces with cookie inside.
Hell yeah.
Shout out.
So I got to be honest. When you nail it with your standard as much as Reese's has, I kind of feel this way about Oreos. Like, let's not venture off from what makes you great. Stick to the fundamentals. Like with Reese's Pieces, I'm sure with cookies inside is great, but that just feels like a different product. Like Reese's, you want to put them in Christmas trees and Easter eggs? All for it. But like, stick to your formula of chocolate and peanut butter. Now, in bar form, the Reese's Fast Break, most underrated candy bar in the world.
Reese's peanut butter bars are my jam.
Isn't that what the Fast Break is?
Is it? I don't know what the Fast Break is.
I think that's what it is. It's just the Reese's peanut butter bar, like the candy bar version of the Reese's. It's unbelievable.
Oh, no, this is different. The Reese's peanut butter bars are exactly what they sound like. They're like a giant chocolate bar, not giant, but a big chocolate bar that has Reese's in the middle. It's peanut butter in the middle. Just look up, Reese's peanut butter bar.
Oh wow, it's like a Hershey bar, but Reese's.
Yeah, it's delicious.
See, I need to compare this to the fast break. My lineage is all screwed up.
It's great stuff. Yeah. Ryan's just like, they're both amazing, and I'm sure they are.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
The smoothness of the fast break, though, I gotta be honest.
I don't know, man.
It's gonna be tough.
I'm gonna load up my Amazon wish list for my birthday. I'm gonna be like, hey, if y'all want to send me stuff, that's what you can send me.
Ryan is.
I know. So I'm just gonna put really expensive, stupid shit and see who bites.
So that you can bite into a Reese's.
I have 3 half-pound peanut butter cups to go. They're in my fridge. I ate one on the air. I think it was the Royal Rumble. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like buzzed. Like I'm buzzing. Because it's a half-pound of chocolate and peanut butter. And it's like 10:30.
My
and I'm sitting there just like,
look right in the chat. 1,000% will get 10 million% get Joel candy.
I get it.
You guys are like, I hope you get to me in person someday. Because you guys
I feel like we did, didn't we meet at Emo Fights?
No, you met Danny.
I met Danny, okay.
Who is also, he's no longer a part of the Mark Order.
Okay, that's why.
He has responsibilities and goes to work in the morning and doesn't want to be exhausted for it, like a nerd. But he was also very similar in that you like watch wrestling to enjoy it.
Seems bad.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's
really weird.
I don't know who would do that. That sounds really bad.
No, it's gross.
Yeah.
Makes me itchy.
By the way, Isaiah Bronner's going to be on In the Weeds tomorrow morning. So go watch that. 10:45 Eastern. Show starts at 10 a.m., but Isaiah Bronner's going to show us because he won the AEW Gauntlet for the Gold. Easy for me to say. So he's going to be hanging out with us. Yeah, we're going to talk to him about his impending match against Matthew James Cardona at the AEW Absolution event.
You know, it's always good to get back to guests who you may or may not be interviewing.
Has he messaged you about that?
No, but you left him on red.
I didn't. I feel bad.
You left him on red.
I think he's going to be a spotlight guest. It's really hard to do this. Can Overbooked have a candy review show? Short answer, yes. Long answer, no.
Those are different answers.
They are very different answers.
So the same question.
We have a Degrassi review show.
We do.
And a basketball talk show that are basically grandfathered in because the people who do it work for the sites. And one of them happens to run this channel. And the other one is Steven Jensen.
Jensen should just get to do whatever he wants. Just in life.
That's it. He gets to do whatever he wants, and I'm never going to tell him no. Yeah. Overbooked, I try to keep it as much to wrestling as I can.
Oh.
I know, but there's a reason for that.
Candy.
You ever see what happens when a channel does too much different stuff?
Okay, but do you think the views on a candy review show are not going to be the best views that we have on this channel?
I think the Al Gore rhythm is going to completely submerge it beyond the depth of hell.
So we'll call it Wrestling and Candy, and we'll be like, oh my god, Ricky Starks loves Twizzlers, and then we'll just review candy.
We just open with the line, Sting loves red vines.
I'm a genius. Or like wrestlers as candy. Like Darby Allin is a moon cookie. I know that's not, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
well, now I want to go down this rabbit hole. Eddie Kingston, what cookie is he? Reese's Pie. Because of the whole Reese's Pie thing in the back with his Reese's Pie.
I'm just looking at his gear. Is there any black and yellow?
Yeah, Reese's.
That's black and orange, idiot.
No, that's the branding of Reese's, but peanut butter is typically like yellowish brown.
And you know what, with the actual pieces, there are yellow ones in there, so I'll take it.
There you go. So then what's MJF?
Does Burberry make a candy?
No, it doesn't have to be the branding. It could be their personality.
Oh, Sour Patch Kids.
Sour Patch Kids. Oh my god.
Yeah, because they're sour, but then like you get to watch them wrestle, and it's actually kind of sweet.
What's Roman Reigns?
I don't know. A Necco wafer, because you can eat them for like decades, and they'll still be fresh in like 85 years from now. A butterscotch candy, maybe. The same experience every time, and they last for freaking ever, and it's geared toward your grandfather.
Why can't you be Big League Chew? It's what you have at the ballpark at the bottom of the third, and it'll last you through to the bottom of the ninth.
No, because it only lasts you to the top of the fourth. That's the problem. Big League Chew loses flavor so fast.
I haven't had Big League Chew in so long. Oh man, chat's getting in on this now. MJF is black licorice. Oh man, Roman is Warheads because it's that lingers over the sour lingers over sweetness. Oh my goodness, what's Seth Rollins?
He's a Tootsie Roll.
How many licks does he think gets to the center of Seth Rollins?
That's a Becky Lynch question, sir.
There's only one kid. We got to ask the kid. What else? What else before we get out of here?
Aussie Open would be like that Australian licorice gimmick, right?
Red Vines? I don't know what the Australian.
No, it's very good.
Been to Australia. I can't even think of what it is. Someone in the chat's going to remind me. That's fine.
No, it's just like it says, like Australian wallaby licorice or whatever.
Seems
It's like they pretend it's healthy, but it's still licorice, so it's not.
Oh, yeah, that seems bad.
Let's do it in reverse. Who would be Skittles? Dalton Castle.
Yeah, 100%.
Who would be Starbursts? Willow?
Yeah, I could see Willow, especially when she wins that New Japan Strong Women's Championship tonight and all its purple strap glory.
Who would be a Hershey bar?
Who is contemporary and here forever? Sting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. I feel like that's too standard for Sting, though.
Sting is pretty standard.
No. You had Surfer Sting, you have Crow Sting, you have all this reinvention.
Yeah, Hershey has tons of different bars.
Who are runts?
QTV.
No. I'm trying to think of good, like, henchmen type.
Stacks 2 dimes.
But they don't exist anymore.
Well, one of them doesn't. The other one's about to call the cops on his on the mob boss and become the mob boss himself.
I'm gonna say runts are the LWO.
Oh, that's awful. They got the win this week.
But I like runts. They're good, except the banana ones.
No, I get behind that. That's true. Who else? Who else would be a good chocolate bar? What's Brian Danielson? What's the most vegan chocolate bar you know?
What's the most? Well, it's just candy, right? We're not limited to that.
No, it's got to be vegan candy, damn it.
He's a Swedish fish, I feel like.
But he's not Swedish.
But he's got red gear.
Oh, okay. Who are sweet tarts? Brock Lesnar for payday is true, actually. It's good.
Sweet tarts? Does that feel like a Street Profits thing?
Meh.
Like explosive flavor?
I guess. I feel like we're kind of just thinking of shit, saying it.
I was thinking through mine. You got something better for sweet tarts?
No, I know that Claudio Castagnoli is Ricola.
Obviously.
Gotta be. No one else could be.
No. What would Ricky Starks be?
What is the cheesiest?
How dare you, sir? Cheesiest?
Yeah. What is the cheesiest candy? Is he Mr. Big?
He's like $100,000.
No, I don't think he gets paid that much.
Richard Starks? He's not an NWA anymore.
That's true. Where he was getting paid $100,000.
Oh, let's do that. What would Tyrus be?
Diabetes.
An almond joy?
Oh God, not even. He's a bounty bar.
He's a bounty bar.
What?
Billy Corgan would be the orange pumpkins that you get.
It's true.
Fits on so many levels.
Tyrus is perfect. Thinks he's black on the outside, but he's super white on the inside. Tyrus's candy corn is another good one. Nobody likes candy corn.
No.
Oh, that's good stuff. Kit Kat Chunkies, by the way. I like those. Oh my God. All right. I can't keep doing this. There's too much dead air.
Let's go watch the main event of New Japan.
right now it's Hikuleo defending his New Japan Strong title against Kenta.
Man, they really just are giving titles out to everybody.
I mean,
and I love Hikuleo, but there's just so many titles in the world.
Well, no, Kenta had that title until Hikuleo just won it back.
Yeah,
and now Kenta's going after it. It's actually a good match. I'm looking forward to this.
Well, let's go watch it.
Okay, let's get out of here. Kate, do the things where you promote the things.
Hey, you can follow me on Miss Kate Fabe on Twitter and on TikTok, and Kate's Grams on Instagram. Sundays, I'm right here on Fightful Overbooked with Joel Pearl, Joel and Kate at 8. Mondays behind the paywall with Alex Pulowski doing the Sour Grapes post show. Tuesdays on the main doing the Sour Grapes post show. Wednesdays at the Mark Order talking all things All Elite. Thursdays doing the ROH, and we hand it off to Joel and Cresta. Impact post show. Fridays AEW Rampage and SmackDown on the Fightful main channel. And pay-per-view wise, just stay tuned to my Twitter because there's a lot happening.
There's a lot. By the way, Kyle Fletcher was out there alone because Mark Davis is injured, and Aussie Open cannot defend the IWGP Tag titles at Dominion on June the 4th. Fletcher says that Aussie Open is vacating both the IWGP and New Japan Strong Tag.
No. So he is injured because they wouldn't do that before Forbidden Door.
Yeah, which sucks.
Fuck, man.
That FTR match is now on the fence. That sucks.
That sucks so hard.
They were having the run of runs, Aussie Open.
Honest to God, like so good.
Yeah, so.
Oh, that sucks. I hope he gets better.
Me too. It's always fun watching them. Let Kyle Fletcher win the international championship this week on Dynamite and just run amok in AEW for a few months.
I would not hate that.
Probably can't do that actually because they got to do something about the match that they're having.
The Battle Royal, yeah. Well, he could just lose it. He could win it and then lose it.
That's true. You could do that. Just hot shot the titles. It's fine. Sure. That sucks though. I mean, I hate reading that, especially as we're off the air, but that's what's going on. So I guess that just throws the tag situation at Forbidden Door completely in the ringer. We'll see.
It does.
Yeah, we got a month until that show, but I guess Mark Davis is out for the time being.
Yeah, if they're vacating, that sounds bad.
Hopefully not as bad, but it's pretty bad.
If they're vacating both sets of titles, that's not good.
Yeah. Anyway, I am at Joel Pearl, JLPERL. In the Weeds, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. here. That's Eastern Standard Time, by the way, here on Fightful Overbooked. Like Kate said, I am after the Kate and Reg ROH post show with Cresta Star. Her and I review Impact Wrestling on Thursdays on the Fightful YouTube channel. And myself and Ella J, we do the run sheet every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platforms. Talk about wrestling news, talk about TV. We give our little hot takes. We do our thing. Go follow us there at the Run Sheet Pod because we can always use your ears and your love, I guess. I'll take your love. I stole your love. Stole your glove. I stole your glove. I like Kiss, I guess.
Oh, potentially.
Yeah, they're all right. Ladies and gentlemen, friends of me on the binary, we'll see you in the next one.